All right, you are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Dallas Cowboys. And why are the Dallas Cowboys 0-16? Because they suck. They got smoked in the first round of the playoffs because they suck. The Dallas Cowboys suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Oh, time out. Cheer for my buddy Rainey. Watch. Watch. All right, buddy. There we go. Okay, Rainey's here. We can continue. Anybody out there that's going to spend any time with me at all this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, it means the world to me. Thank you. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away, throw in the chat box. I usually try to check on the chat box maybe 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free. Fire away. But plus also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free. Fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And in the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I have 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third membership level I have is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. And finally, also just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. The one just below it, it's a Twitter link. I'm an old-time fart. I hate change, right? Get off my lawn, right? I'm an old-time fart. It's Twitter. It's always been Twitter. It's Twitter today. It'll be Twitter tomorrow. 3 trillion years from now when I'm long gone, it'll be Twitter. It's Twitter. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on you, bro. I'm not calling it that. It's Twitter, right? Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. It's an absolute promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff in there every day. So I said, if you follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back. And then the link just above it, it takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. What do we have? We have over 7,700 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group 24/7, darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in there, but if you become members post stuff in here as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group. Every day, please. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's a Facebook group. Join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All that stuff said and done and away with. Well, I'll tell you what, it was pretty good. Not too shabby. I mean, could have, maybe. I guess overall the 2 championship games were pretty good. I mean, the Lions. I mean. Was it 24/7? It was. I put this in my group too. It was a lot like it was in 1957. It was a playoff game between the Lions and the 49ers. The game was played in San Francisco. It's the exact opposite of this one, except the game was played. Both games were played in San Francisco. That game was played in good old Kezar Stadium. Cool place, very cool place. Not that I ever went there, but the 2 teams, they wound up tied at the end of the regular season. So they had time for playoff game. It was just like what happened in '58 between the Giants and the Browns. They both wound up tied had a playoff game, right? The Giants won the playoff game, went to the 58 championship game, and of course they lost in overtime. But anyway, 57, the Lions and the 49ers tied, and they had a playoff game in San Fran. San Fran was up 24-7 at halftime. They even went up 27-7 in the third quarter. And then the Lions scored the last 24 points, scored 3 touchdowns and a field goal in the last quarter and a half, whatever it was, and they wound up winning 31-27. What a big choke job by the 49ers. Well, yeah. Oh, my God. I don't even know. 65 years later, here we are, whatever. And, championship game, whatever. That was a playoff game to get to the championship game. But and wound up being that the Lions wound up winning that playoff game. They had to head against the 49ers. They went to the championship game against the Browns, the rookie season of Jim Brown. But at 57, the game was played in Detroit. Detroit wound up winning 59-14, I think it was. So, so the Lions were a very good team that year. Had the 49ers won, that they were up 27-7. Had they held on and won, they might have won the championship game. Who knows? But anyway, what the Lions, my God, self-destruction. The thing that kind of got me was it was 24-7. The 49ers go down, score, make it 24-10. The Lions just walked right down the field, went down the field. And they had 4th and 2, whatever it was. I forgot, the 22-yard line or something like that. I don't know why we didn't kick a field goal. Right? Would have put them back up by 3 scores. Would have been 27-10. Right? And now, of course, they made the field goal, of course, but it was not a far field goal. We're not asking the guy to kick a 63-yard or something like that. Right? It would have been, I don't know, a 40-yard field goal maybe. Very doable. So I would have gave him 3 more points. Maybe the game's still going on right now in overtime. Who knows? But the thing is that, the Lions were up by 3 scores. Right? The 49ers went down, scored, put the Lions up by 2 scores, 14 points. So the Lions go back down, tit for tat. Tit for tat, I think it is. 49ers score 3. Lions are up by 2 scores. Lions go back down, kick a 3, put them back up by 3 scores once again. They decided to go for it. Didn't get it. 3-4 plays later, boom, 24-17. Fumble the kickoff, whatever, boom, 24. So within 13 seconds, the 49ers scored 74 points. It's unbelievable. But, it could have been 27-10. Quite bet they made the field goal. Would have put them back up by 3 scores once again. The Lions were walking up and down the field. 49ers weren't stopping them. And just self-destruction. Just, wow. Hey. The Lions will certainly be kicking themselves. Lions are, should be back and all that stuff, and as long as everybody stays healthy and all. But the thing is that you can't say, well, we'll be back again. What Daboll and Shane and it's you want to build on last season, but it's very difficult. But the way things are nowadays, the way things, the guys come and go. Free agency and all this. This team had a life of its own, right? And they got to the championship game and they had a chance to go up 27-10 with whatever, 20, 22, 23 minutes left to go, up by 3 scores. Still doesn't mean they were going to win, but, and self-destructed. But the thing is that, the Lions will probably be a decent team next year. But, you know how hard it is just to get to this point and all that? The quarterback's got to stay healthy. They got to stay relatively healthy. They were relatively healthy, I think, this season. But, it's very difficult to get back there. Look what they did last year, 2022, right? They already 2-6, I think it was, to start the season. And they wound up 9-8. Was it, or 8-9, maybe 8-9, something like that. So let's say what were And I'm talking about the frickin' Lions here instead of the, let's see here, instead of the Giants, Detroit Lions. I mean, they finished strong last season. I mean, they really, there we go. I mean, they started off, they were 2-6, and they finished 9-8. Yeah. So they finished 7-2. They won 7 of their last 9 games. Of course, one of those games they whooped up on the Giants 31-18. And one of their 2 losses, they lost 28-25 to the Bills. And the other one they lost to somehow they got annihilated by the Panthers. But other than that, I mean, they killed Jacksonville. They lost by 3 points to the Bills. They killed the Giants. I mean, they were right. I mean, yeah. So anyway, it's just very, very difficult to get to this point and all that. And, they'll be kicking themselves in the rear end because, I mean, you look at the Chiefs. I mean, they won, but did they win or did the Ravens kind of lose it? I mean, the turnovers that the one guy, Zay Flowers fumbles the ball that it was like the 1 yard line. Lamar Jackson throws an interception in the end zone. The Chiefs didn't score a point in the second half, right? I mean, they look very, very beatable. So it's, the Lions, it is what it is. But, I mean, they'll be kicking themselves all season long. On the road, they had a chance to win and beat a very good team, and is what it is. But anyway, let's talk about the Giants, shall we? Huh? I did a little bit of this, I did a part of this last night, but then I saw it again. Another thing, we're talking about the draft, 2018 draft. My thing last night was when Gettleman didn't pick up the phone, right, in the video. And then I saw, let's see, is this Giants Wire? Giants.com. Who is this here? SI, but this is Giants Country. Patty Traynor, she did this, right? Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm sorry. My bad. It was Ezekiel Trezevant, the 4th. But it's SI.com on Giants Country. So he did it. He did a thing. And it was talking about the draft that it set the Giants back quite possibly years, right? Now, what Gettleman did was, he tried to go for the. Now Eli was coming to the end of the road. I guess they were trying to maybe see if they can get him like one more championship. They didn't want to maybe bring in a bunch of guys. I guess that might take a year, a couple of years or whatever, maybe to develop or something like that. Basically, I guess Gettleman wanted to get that one home run, which would have been Saquon, right? And because we had Ingram, right, with Sterling Shepard, we had Odell Beckham Jr. Throw Saquon Barkley in there, and also what Gettleman was also talking about too was he was like, at pick 2 is like you can envision this guy, whoever you draft, you can envision him with a gold jacket on, meaning a Hall of Fame jacket. That's what Gettleman was saying, and I'm sure he had visions of seeing Saquon. I mean, put Saquon in the right system. With the right blocking, right? Good offensive line. Of course, if he didn't get injured and this, that, and the other thing, hey, sure, we might be talking about a Hall of Fame guy, but he had his injuries. He came to a team that hasn't had a good offensive line for years. It was still in search of a good offensive line. We had some parts there. Especially, with Shermer there calling plays, Saquon's rookie season, he had over 2,000 all-purpose yards, let's not forget about Shermer, right? It was not maybe the greatest coach in the world, but look what he did in 2019 with Daniel Jones, 24 touchdown passes, 12 interceptions. I think it was 1,348 or 1,349 fumbles he had. So Daniel Jones had anywhere between 7,000 or 8,000 turnovers as rookie. I get that, but that's come way down. But My point is like, look what he got. Look what Daniel, 24 touchdown passes, right? And actually it was only in 12 games. He played in 13, but that was just a small cup of coffee against that in the Cowboy game. I mean, I think it might have been like one drive. So he got in there for like one drive when we were losing by 1,800 points to the Cowboys on the road. Threw Daniel Jones in there, I think, for one drive. So automatically he participated in the game, but he didn't start it. And basically he hardly played at all. So basically he played 12 full games. In those 12 full games, he threw for 24 touchdown passes. So, I mean, tell him if you average that out, right, in his rookie season, if he played 16 full games, he would have had about 32 touchdown passes. Pretty good, right? Then you go back to the year before that with Saquon Barkley. He had, 92, 93, 90 receptions. I mean, we're lucky if we can get him 40 or 50 nowadays, right? Back then, his first season, he had 90, 92, whatever it was. Had over 2,000 all-purpose yards, offensive rookie of the year, and all that, over 1,300 yards rushing. I mean, spectacular. I mean, if he was able to keep that up, yeah, But I mean, the Giants were also kind of, I mean, the one thing that they needed was, I guess kind of like a Shane kind of thing. I guess compete while you're retooling or rebuilding, however you want to look at it, right? Well, that's kind of what the Giants kind of needed back then, because let's not forget, Jerry Reese, right, in 2016, right, he went to Girly World, right? Olivier Vernon, woo, Snacks Harrison, woo, Janoris Jenkins, woo, here's some money, guys. Here's about $800-900 trillion. Let's spend all this money on free agency, right? And that one season, it worked out pretty well. We won a bunch of close games, a bunch of low-scoring games. The defense was very, very good defense, right? Was not a super spectacular offense, but 2016, really, really did good. But then it all came crashing to an end in 2017, and I think was the last 3 or 4 games. 4 games, I think it was. McAdoo was gone, right? Reese was gone, right? So, I mean, Steve Spagnuolo, remember him? He was the interim coach. Let him go. What do we want him for? Get out of here, right? You stink, Steve. Right? Well, I think Steve's going to his 17th Super Bowl now with the Kansas City Chiefs. Get out of here, Steve. You suck. And we're still looking for a defensive coordinator, huh? Wow, gotta love it, huh? Anyway, but what the Giants needed after that 2017 season, was they, compete while you're retooling, rebuilding. And the Giants had a perfect chance, perfect opportunity in the 2018 draft. Well, I mean, Dave Gettleman was playing, he was looking for the home run. Let's get that one home run in here, right? Help Eli. Maybe we can get him going to that, maybe that final one more Super Bowl, right? But we had a perfect chance, and the thing about it is, if we look back at the draft, I'm gonna pop it back up here in just a second. But according to the article I read last night, right, the Denver Broncos and John Elway were calling, and Dave Gettleman just did not want to pick the phone up. Didn't want to answer the phone. Well, apparently, according to this article, right, that's all I'm going by that I read last night. John Elway, they were picking the 5th, the Broncos wanted to, dish out a good ransom for that 2nd overall pick. They wanted Sam Darnold. Baker went 1. They wanted to jump up in front of the Jets, who needed a quarterback. Jump up, right? Grab Sam Darnold, right? And I didn't say in the article what they were going to give. Obviously, the Giants would have jumped back to 5, would have gone from 2 to 5. Okay, but they didn't say, they were going to give him another first rounder and another second rounder and 2/3, or that it didn't say. You don't know, but it said in the article that they were willing to give like a king's ransom to jump up from 5 to 2. And, they said the Jets that year were at 6. They went from 6 and they traded with the Colts at 3. So basically the same thing. They went from 6 to 3. The Broncos wanted to go from 5 to 2. The Jets went from 6 to 3. So they moved up 5, 4, like whatever, 3 spots, right? 3 or 4 spots, however you want to look, from 6 to 3, 6, however you want to look at 3 or 4 spots, they moved up. Well, so the Colts went back from 3 to 6. So they got that Jets first round pick, but then the Jets gave them 3 second round picks. 2 of them were in the 2018 draft and a second round pick in the 2019 draft. Right? So the Colts went back from 3 to 6 and they got 4 picks in return for that. Right? So you figure the Colts in the 2018 draft and the 2019 draft, they wound up with 2 first round picks. And then they had their own second round picks, right? In the 2018 and the 2019, right? Then they had 3 second rounders from the Jets. So in 2018, 2019, and I said this last night, that the Colts wound up getting 7 picks in the first 2 rounds. Now, I mean, if you got any decent kind of scouting department going on, you should be fine. I mean, that's 7 guys. That's basically almost like a third of your starting unit. I mean, basically 11 on offense, 11 on defense, 22, right? They had 7 guys that were picking in those first 2 rounds of the between 18 and 19 draft. I mean, you know how much damage you can do with that? 7 guys basically should almost all be starters, if not all stars, should be big-time contributors. I mean, even if you bomb out on, say, 2 of them, I mean, you got 5 guys in 2 drafts between I'm not even talking about the 3rd and 4th round picks and 5th rounders or whatever. I'm just talking 1st and 2nd. Say you bomb on 2 of them. That's still 5 picks, right? Jeez, I mean, but Dave Gettleman could have moved back, and the thing about it was, he might have still maybe possibly was still been able to get Saquon Barkley. He could have maybe moved from 2 back to 5 and still gotten Saquon, picked up like another 2 or 3 draft picks, and still gotten Saquon. Let's take a look here. It was like, let's see, where are we at here? There we got a draft. I mean, I said I did this last night. I mean, the thing is that, the Jets, of course, took Sam Darnold. So now who the Jets would have taken, that you don't know. Because if the Broncos moved up and traded with the Giants at number 2, they would have taken Sam Darnold, according to the article. So who did the Jets have taken? Would the Jets have taken Josh Allen? Huh? Maybe. Who knows? Would they have taken Josh Rosen? He was a big name. He was big back then, right? Josh Rosen, right? But I mean, the Browns would have taken Denzel Ward, and then it would have been the Giants. The Giants could have had Quentin Nelson. They could have had Bradley Chubb. They could have took Josh Allen. They could have, maybe if Saquon was there, they could have had Saquon Barkley. So it all depends upon what the Jets would have done. Would the Jets have, if they couldn't have had Sam Darnold, would they have taken either one of the Joshes, Allen or Rosen? Would they have taken one of those 2 guys? Possibly. But I said they could have maybe took Denzel Ward, but they could have maybe had Bradley Chubb. They could have took Quentin Nelson, right? There's Roquan Smith, right? Daron Payne. That's the Redskins wound up taking him, the number 13 overall. But there's a lot of guys there, a lot of good quality guys. But I'm saying that the thing is that, Gettleman could have gone back from 2 to 5 and somehow still maybe gotten Saquon Barkley out of it and picked up another 2 or 3 draft picks. High quality, awesome draft picks. But he didn't want to pick up the phone. Too freaking stubborn. Too stubborn in the head. Absolutely, what an idiot. Now, I mean, you don't know. Once again, one of those things you don't know. Oh, what's up, guy? With Dan Campbell has some explaining to do. Yep. Yep. I'll tell you what. I mean, the fumble. I mean, all of a sudden, the momentum just started turning. And it was just. But I mean, the thing that just got me was, I was explaining this like in the beginning. It's like you're up 24-7 at halftime. I'm glad they went for the field goal right at the end of the first half instead of trying to maybe score a touchdown and take the points, go up 3 scores going into halftime. Nice job. But then the 49ers go down and score and make it 24-10. So the Lions go down the field, and have a chance to go back up by 3 scores once again. He said, and I get it, but sometimes you like out-coach yourself. Sometimes you think you're just going to keep walking up and down the field, this, that, and sometimes you just take the fucking points, man. Some guys just get too freaking greedy. And if it works out, hey, you're a genius, right? But when it don't work out, if he kicked that field goal there, that might have stemmed the tide a little bit, maybe. Just maybe, because right after that, they went for it was like 4th and 2, whatever. They didn't get it. Like 4 plays later, boom, touchdown. Then a fumble, boom. 2 plays later, whatever it was, boom. So within like 6, 7 plays, 8 plays, it went, went from 24-10 to 24-24. Tide totally changed, all in the favor of the 49ers. I mean, so like I said, man, it's such a shame. They had such a good season, and they'll be kicking themselves big time after this, the whole off season. Had a good team, really good team. Such a shame. Yeah, but sometimes, because Dane Campbell's never been an NFC championship game before. These guys, a lot of guys haven't been in the championship game before and stuff like that. So it escaped them. The 49ers have been there, and they'll be, I'm sure, quite possible, as long as they stay healthy. They were in a championship game last season, right? They were in a championship game this season. They'll be probably a favorite maybe to go back to the championship game again, maybe next season, as long as they keep the core guys together. So I'll have to wait and see, but I'll tell you, you got that right. They have some explaining to do. You're absolutely right there. All right, let's see here. But let's see now. I'll say, but the thing was, the problem is that, with Gettleman, he possibly could have moved back. And the other thing you don't know, say they couldn't have gotten Saquon. Were they, because they were doing this also, right? Gettleman's like, I'm thinking, right, is that, Eli's kind of going toward the end of his career, right? Let's see if we can get him one more push, maybe put all the chips in the middle of the table, whatever. See if we can get him a home run hitter, get him Saquon Barkley in here. Maybe that'll help, right? Because we got Odell Beckham Jr., we got Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, right? Let's get him a good running back, and maybe that'll push us over the edge. Maybe we can make another run at it, whatever. But the thing is that if they move back to number 5 and they couldn't get Saquon Barkley, I'm thinking, were they eyeing up one of those other quarterbacks? Were they eyeing up Josh Allen and Josh Rosen? Who knows? But, I mean, you can see there's a ton of other guys, good quality players that the Giants could have had at pick number 5. And they could have had other draft picks as well, too. I mean, the Giants should easily have another, easily another, like, 3 good guys on the team from that draft, easily, from the draft picks that we got. It should still be on the team here, but it is what it is. I mean, that's why sometimes, you make a wrong move in these drafts. Why these drafts are so important nowadays. I mean, those draft picks are like freaking gold, right? That's why you got to make sure you knock it out of the park with those guys, and especially if you have a chance. I said, unless you're like drafting like whatever, and you need like one guy, and he falls to you in your lap, and and somebody else wants to call and make trade with you or something, nah, man, we need a wide receiver. We get ourselves a wide receiver, right? And we like this guy. We're picking number 13. Somebody wants to trade up with us and all that. Nah, we're one guy away, right? We like this wide receiver. He fell to us in our lap. We're gonna pick him, and we got a good chance of going to the Super Bowl. But I mean, when you're not that close, when and you once again, you're not talking about trading, swapping 4th and 5th round picks or something like that. You're talking, there's a heavy duty hitters right here. 1st round, and you can trade back from 2 to 5 and pick up another 1st rounder, maybe a couple seconds and stuff like that. I mean, man, no, I'm not picking up the film. No, I'm picking Saquon Barkley. Now, to be fair, Saquon is the face of the franchise. Once again, whether the pick was right or whether it was wrong or whatever, it is what it is, right? But what I do like about Saquon is he is the face of the franchise. He puts people's rear ends in the seats. People come to see him play, right? He's a quality guy. He's a good talent still. But he's a heck of a human being. And if somebody to be the face of the franchise, I'm happy it's Saquon. And hopefully we can find some way to keep the guy around. Hopefully, but so we did wind up picking a very, very good human being. An outstanding teammate, an outstanding captain, an outstanding person, right, for the Giants organization. So, and if we can hold on to him until he retires, I'm all for it. Of course, it has to be at the right price, but so I mean, to be fair, he did wind up picking an extremely good representative of the New York Football Giants. But as I said, at times like that, when you're trying to maybe thinking about possibly rebuilding, if you could just trade. We're not talking about trading from the pick number 2 to pick number 848 or something. We're talking about go back 3 spots from 2 to 5 and pick up 2 or 3, probably, more draft picks. What is wrong? And still, we don't even know. There's a possibility he could have gone back from 2 to 5 and still gotten Saquon Barkley. All right. Anyway, moving on up. All right. Good old Daboll, Brian Daboll. Who is this? Giants Wire. Volatility issues cost Brian Daboll coaching jobs prior to the Giants hire. Interesting. The big offseason headline plaguing the Giants has been the volatility of head coach Brian Daboll. Now, this is also something, that has a possibility of being curbed. Because remember, let's not forget Tom Coughlin. Maybe he wasn't quite maybe as volatile as, well, maybe he was quite. He calmed down a little bit, right? Like especially Michael Strahan and guys like that were talking, okay, calm down a little. And, he managed to do that at least a little bit anyway. So, it's not something that can't be done, but something we're certainly going to have to keep an eye on here with good old Dabes. A report surfaced in October that the hot-headed Daboll was at odds with Wink, and when things were starting to boil over, there was a belief that Martindale could be shown the door in season, but that ultimately culminated in early January, right? Since then, additional reports have surfaced that Daboll's work environment is toxic. Now, this could also wind up being from the guys that he fired as well, too. So let's not, some of this stuff, the Wilkins brothers, right? The brothers Wilkins. Let's not, maybe they had a little sour grapes going on there. They wound up letting them go and all of that. So maybe they're doing, he's really, so maybe some sour grapes going on there with the brothers Wilkins, right? So, And his outbursts have become personal. Some staffers have even anonymously warned potential assistants to stay away. There have been rumors that Daboll's relationship with Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott also reached a breaking point before he was hired as Giants head coach in 2022. And apparently it goes back even further than that. Ooh. During Friday appearance on The Fan, Connor Hughes of SNY reported that Daboll was passed over for several coaching jobs in recent years because of his volatility and his inability to justify his hot-headed nature. I talked to people that knew there was issues in Cleveland when he was an offensive coordinator there. The same volatility and heatedness in Cleveland, Hughes said. Remember, Daboll went through several coaching cycles before he got his job. There were some of those issues that were turned up in those coaching cycles and coaching interviews, and they wanted him to address those, and he didn't address them overly well in some of those interviews, which is why the teams passed on him despite his success in Buffalo. Hughes went on to note that this is something that could continue to deteriorate, and it may result in offensive coordinator Mike Kafka attempting to leave for a lateral move, which is true. There's not a 0% chance that he makes a lateral move. That's not completely incomprehensible. That's still a situation that could be out there, Hughes said. When you have a coach that loses all three coordinators, and maybe two of which because they don't want to work with him anymore, that's a red flag. We'll have to wait and see. Like many others, Hughes believes that Daboll is a good coach and capable of course correcting in the same way Tom Coughlin did, and the Giants fully intend to give him that opportunity. Yeah. But also, let's also not forget, Shane, he's like Santa Claus. He's looking who's naughty, who's nice, right? He'll be keeping an eye on Daboll, right? He might have to give him a little kick in the butt every now and then. Just obviously, they're friends and all that, but Shane's the commander in chief. He's the one in charge. And, he might have to, every now and then he might have to, remind him, let's, and I understand, but let's calm down a little bit, so. And if it continues to be a problem, unfortunately, Shane's the commander in chief. He'll have he'll have to let him go. I mean, if coaches want to keep coming in here and they want to keep leaving because of Daboll having a problem, but some of it also is, to be fair to Daboll, some of it is explosiveness and hot-headedness is on game day. It's a passionate game. It's not easy. Not everybody's a Tom Landry where they can just stand on the sideline and you don't know if he's winning 58-0 or if he's losing 58-0. He's kind of like, just looking around. He has a little hat, fedora on, just looking around. Not many coaches are like that. A lot of them are hot-headed, right? Especially in the heat of the battle. So, if he starts exploding and stuff like that, but on the other side, too, when things are going good, he's going back there. He's, hey, let's keep it up, guys, right? He's a passionate coach, right? I understand, maybe getting a little ticked off that he might get being pissed off at some guys and stuff like that and everything. But, right, would you rather have that? Some guy who gets, emotional, though, too, right? He gets all freaking fired up when they win. Right, he's not all pissed off all the time. And when things, when he's winning and the team's winning, right? For the fan base, for Mr. Mara, for Mr. Tish, for the team, he's passionate. He's excited. He's happy, right? But when things aren't going well, it is what it is. But what would you want we're down 31-3 halfway through the third quarter to some team. Do you want them just standing on the sideline? Do you want that, or do you want somebody who's getting in people's faces and letting them have it? I'd rather have a coach getting in people's faces and letting them have it. Right? It's a passionate game. So some of it, is, especially on game day, somebody you gotta, take some of that with a little grain of salt. He's a passionate guy, right? So we'll have to wait and see. Then we got the East-West Shrine game. Apparently, there's some, obviously, well, there always is, and it's always because you got these guys like, I got like a 3rd round grade on this guy. You know what I mean? Because you got these guys that spend, ain't going to be me, ain't ever going to be me. Guys spend 76 hours every day watching film on every guy. There's 1,372,000 guys coming out of college, and these guys, they just spend their whole life. They trade their lives just to watch film on everybody. And I take that ain't gonna be me, but I take these guys, I take their knowledge because they're trading their life away to watch film on all these guys. So I take their knowledge right. But there's always guys, right? Regardless, where going into the draft or whatever after the season's over, whatever. Wide receiver like 3rd round. You know what I mean? It's not bad. He's got some issues here. This, that, and it doesn't run the greatest route trees or this. That maybe a 3rd round pick. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But then like the East-West Shrine game rolls around or the combine, and tell you what, this guy could be somebody it happens all the time. Guys fall down the board. Some guys shoot. I had him as a 17th round pick, but I'll tell you what, he could be a top 10 pick now. I mean, look at you, see him at the combine. Happens all the time. So, and of course, this year will be no exception. Right. So, I mean, there's certainly some good guys out there. We got at the Shrine game, at the Shrine Bowl, yeah. Now, one of them was obviously, which quite possibly Malik Washington, who continues to shine on day 2 of the East-West Shrine Bowl practice. Interest the Giants, quite possibly. Virginia receiver Malik Washington was one of the stars on the first day of practices, and he's carrying that forward to Sunday. There's still a lot of draft process yet to go until April, of course, but Washington is certainly making himself some money. In non-receiver news, we might also want to get familiar with the name Quantez Stiggers of the Toronto Argonauts, no less. Stiggers was the CFL Rookie of the Year last year for the Toronto Argonauts, and is his first CFL player to be invited to the Shrine Bowl. Well, good for you, brother. Way to go, pal. Way to go. And so far, he showed that he absolutely belongs with the rest of these prospects. Good for you, man. He's a defensive back. So, Stiggers is he's 5'11", 203 pounds, and obviously knows how to play at the catch point. Scouts will be going back to do more work on him after this week. And one final note from the West team practice. This is refreshing to read regarding Mike Kafka's squad. Let's see. West team head coach Mike Kafka talked to the media after practice, as well as Texas Tech safety Dadrian Taylor Demerson. Demerson had a pick 6 in practice, so he did good. Let's see. But I said, but the guy from where is he at? Malik Washington has been one of the most impressive players so far at the Shrine Bowl. Fluid, sudden, and good hands. So, I mean, once again, it's supposed to be once again, a very good class for wide receivers. And I'm sure the Giants, if they picked a wide receiver in the 3rd or 4th round, as long as they did their, obviously their scouting, did a good job, you can't go wrong. They'll find a quality receiver. And they're going to find a dog in the 3rd or 4th round. Might one be there? Absolutely, of course. But what are the odds? Are there dogs been in the 3rd and 4th round or what? 5th? Or was it Puka Nacua? Was a 5th rounder? Of course, he's the number 2 wide receiver. He's not the number 1. So if he was the number 1, he may not be quite as effective as he is right now. But Yeah, I'm saying, could the Giants in the third, fourth, fifth round find a decent wide receiver? Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. But, if they're looking for a dog, we're looking at, oh, I'm sorry. Maybe our first round pick. So Giants are going to need quite a bit, right? Obviously, we're trying to compete, and we're rebuilding. Now, you don't know what the Giants are thinking, especially with quarterback. You don't know, right? Are they going to try to draft somebody there? They're going to try to. They got to get somebody in there, especially when they start like in in May, like the little mini camps or whatever like that. They're only going to have one quarterback. They got right Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan. They got one quarterback. They need to have at least two other ones. So whether they're going to draft somebody and maybe pick somebody up in free agency or whatever, who knows? But they're going to need to definitely get somebody. So what are they going to do with quarterback? Right? Take somebody maybe in the third round or fourth round and try to develop them. Maybe he can be a backup quarterback. Right? Are they going to go in the first round, pick 6? They're going to jump up into the top 5. Who knows? It's going to be very, very interesting. But the Giants have to do something at quarterback. Let's see here. Now, on the East team, we mentioned Colorado State edge defender Muhammad Kamara, and our players to watch, and he flashed during Sunday's practice. The Giants need to add depth to their edge rotation. Absolutely. Though they may not be able to invest a high draft pick in that position, a player like Kamara could be a later round option for the Giants. Absolutely. Now, the thing is here is that, the Giants, they need another edge rusher, right? They could really, really use, obviously, somebody next to Sexy Dexy as well, too, right? Sexy, another Leonard Williams type of guy, which obviously is kind of tough to get, but, they need another edge rusher, without question. They need depth at edge rusher, right? Whatever, who's going to be the number one other cornerback? They don't bring back McKinney. Do they think that they got maybe Belton and Pinnock back there? They think they got their safeties of the future. Okay, but regardless, they still need a wide receiver. So they need some good heavy hitters, right? Now let's not forget, we got 5 of the top 105 picks, I think it is, right? So we have like 3 of the top like about 50 picks. So, you can certainly get a nice edge rusher, right? But once again, you can get yourself a nice wide receiver, right? Where are we going with the offensive line? It's we still got some holes to fill, without question. So between this year and next season, I think I'll have a better idea of where we're going. But the one nice thing is the Giants at 6. If somebody wants to call up and talk to the Giants about maybe moving back some spots and the Giants wind up picking up another extra pick or 2, that could be huge for the Giants. Really, really huge for the Giants. But let's see. It says on the flip side of the line of scrimmage, the Penn State center has reportedly been one of the winners from today's practice. Well, the Giants aren't looking for a center. Let's see here. The trenches seem to steal the show at the East team practices, and small school players like C.J. Hansen, a guard from Holy Cross, right? Guard, ding, 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 ding. And Garrett Greenfield, an offensive tackle from South Dakota State, were showing they could hang with the big school products. Very good. Michigan wide receiver Cornelius Johnson did provide some fireworks with his skill positions, getting separation on one-on-ones and showing some good ball skills. Practice will resume Monday morning as the East team will once again get the early slot. So, once again, you got all, what do we got? We still got 3 months before the draft, right? So, we still got a lot of time, but that's going to be happening. It's funny, the way, I might have somebody who was supposed to be a day 3 pick and all of a sudden they have a good combine or something like that, and they just wind up shooting up the boards, or they have a good East-West or the Senior Bowl or East-West Shrine game, and they go shooting up the boards, or they have their own pro day and they go flying up the boards. You know what I mean? So it happens every year. But then again, for everybody who wants to flying up the boards, there's guys that want to slide down the board. So this is a magical time of the season also, because now you're starting to look at guys and possibly want to become a New York Football Giants and maybe helping this team going forward. So there's nothing more exciting to get like some young draft prospects in here on the Giants team. And you just, especially when I said we got like five of the top 105, I think it is, picks, whatever. 5 of the top almost 100 guys in the country. You can do some damage with that, right? So, I mean, I said, you look at it like whatever, and then you add next year in there too. Say we just have a first, second, or third in the top 100, right? That's, between this year and next year, that's like 8 guys that you can get in the top, 100 of each draft. You could do some damage with that. Yeah, so let's hope that Shane and company get these draft picks right, because that could be huge for the Giants. Absolutely huge. And I don't want to finish up a whole lot of Bill Belichick. That's some good, and there's this one story here. It has some. Oh, where we at here? Oh, there we go. About Bill Belichick. I mean, wants to be the Giants head coach after the Patriots exit. Well, says if Bill Belichick remains without a team this offseason and he has to wait to get back into the coaching until 2025, don't rule out the New York Giants. Well, I mean, if Daboll's seat gets hot, and for some reason, hopefully not, but the Giants wind up doing horrible next year and Daboll gets fired, who knows? But according to Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, it's been long believed he would love to go back to the place where he won a pair of Super Bowls as defensive coordinator. And because the team took a nosedive in 2023 after a playoff berth in 2022, Belichick served as a defensive coordinator for the Giants under Parcells from 1985 to 1990 and was a member of the coaching staff from 1979 to 1990. As for the Giants, after another disappointing season in the Big Apple could spell doom for the current head coach, Brian Daboll. After making the playoffs in his first season, the Giants were disastrous 6-11 this past season. Whether Belichick wants to get back into coaching after a potential season off remains to be seen. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is because he's 71. After all, and retirement has its perks, but the Giants would be a logical match if they had a vacancy and he still has a coaching edge. That's what I'm saying. He'd have to have to be a big time edge. The one thing is that he's only, he's like 20, 30 games away, whatever it is, from Don Shula, from the all-time record. Now, Shula did coach for longer, I believe. Yeah, Shula was around Shula coached more games. So let's take a look here. Let's see, all-time games coached NFL. I know, because I know coach winners, leaders. Well, all right, let's see here. Does it say how many games they coached? Don Shula. Belichick's only 26 wins away from tying Don Shula. Now, he coached for 33 seasons. So he I don't know. I don't even say. I'd have to add this up, how many games he coached. I mean, Belichick, 266, and Belichick coached less games. But Belichick is only 26 games away from tying him. 27, he would have the win. He would have the win. 27, he would take the lead. Now, let's not forget about Andy Reid. It's tough to say you're not exactly sure how long Andy Reid's going to be coaching for, especially if maybe he wins this year's Super Bowl. You don't know. But Andy Reid, he's got a little bit of ways to go, though. But, I mean, if Belichick does have some type of an itch and he wants to get back into coaching, I said – if you look at it, say if the Giants were to win 9 games 3 years in a row, he'll have 329, right? But the thing is, you go out at 71, you go out and you're not coaching for a year. He got passed over for the Atlanta Falcons job, right? So, but I mean, to be out of coaching for a year and then to go back into it again, where it's 37 hours every day. You gotta, I mean, you sleep for 15 minutes. You want to do that for 12 months. You're out of it for a year, and you want to get back into it, and be 73 years old and be. As I said, now the all-time mark is that something he really covets? Is that something he really wants? Who knows? But I know it'd be pretty tough to be out of coaching for a year and then go back into it. Full bore once again. You can't half rear end it. You're either in or you're out. Now the thing is, it's one thing, especially with him. He has a nice personality out of football. When he's at the press conferences and all that, he's like, yeah. I mean, he answers. They ask him a question. Yes. And they ask him a question. No. Yeah. I mean, he gives them nothing, absolutely nothing, stone face. But outside, he's a nice guy, nice personality and all. Now, somebody like him, with the amount of coaching, the Super Bowls he's won and the wins he has and all this stuff and everything like that, how much money he can make if he wanted to be doing games like Tony Romo and stuff like that. I'm sure one of the NBC or Fox, one of the networks, would love to have him. And you know how much money he could wind up making? Probably more than if he was coaching. So, I mean, it would be a lot more easier, a lot more relaxed. He just has to watch some film. And when it's showtime, all he has to do is talk about a game for 3 hours, and he makes $1 million, right? Sign me up for that. So, it's Belichick, if he takes a season off or he wind up coming back, I don't know. Be tough. But which leads me to my next story, which is about him kind of warning others, because he's not too high. Because when Wellington Mara was the main guy, he was the main sheriff in town back in from 79 to 90 when he was here. Wellington was still alive before Wellington died. So Wellington was the main guy. So Belichick and Wellington Mara were kind of good friends and all that. I mean, ever since Wellington died, right, and kind of and John's here and all that, Belichick's kind of apparently talking to some coaches and all that. He's not too high on the way the Giants operate things nowadays. So, I mean, once again, which makes it even more odd to think that he would actually, if he had to take a season off, that he'd actually want to come back to the Giants after he's telling other coaches maybe it's not the right place to come here. Because this is from Giants Wires. Bill Belichick has warned coaches about the Giants organization. Bill Belichick is a name that simply won't go away when it comes to the New York Giants, at least not since he and the New England Patriots parted ways. Fans have clamored for Belichick to return to the Giants, either as their head coach or job currently held by Brian Daboll or as their defense coordinator. I mean, I'd have a hard time thinking he's going to be a head coach. He was a coach for the Browns for 4 years or something like that. Then 23, 24 years, whatever it was with the Patriots. And then all of a sudden he's going to go back as that defensive coordinator and have somebody start yelling at him and Daboll start to yell at him. Nah, I don't see that possibly happening. Neither one of those things is going to happen, and not now and not likely in the future. During the latest Breaking Big Blue podcast, ESPN's Jordan Renan revealed that Belichick's view of the Giants has shifted over the years. He said, I've heard this multiple times over the past 5, 6, 7 years, and it's a dirty little secret, maybe about Bill Belichick and the Giants. Renan said, I don't think he looks at the Giants the same way he used to look at the Giants when he was here. Renan notes that Belichick was a Wellington Mara guy, not a John Mara and Steve Tisch guy. And while he still reflects positively on his time with the Giants, Belichick has become wary of the current ownership and front office structure. Specifically, Renan notes is the presence of John Mara's nephew, Tim McDonald, the team's director of player personnel. A lot of people are not really high on him. Over the years, Bill Belichick has given advice to people that he didn't really like the setup of the Giants organization. Like he didn't think the Giants were a great organization. Renan said Bill Belichick, like everybody else watching from the outside and watching the way it's set up, doesn't think, at least this is what I've heard, is that it's a great organization in its current situation. That doesn't mean Bill Belichick doesn't love the Giants and appreciate everything that they've done for him and he had great memories. But because of the current power structure, Renan doesn't believe Belichick would want to come to the Giants at this point in his career. Even if it became desperate and the Giants came calling, it's likely Belichick would request a major dynamic shift within the building. He's directly told that to people, be careful about the organization and their setup and the way it's run. That's happened, Renan said. So yes, Bill Belichick loves the Giants, the organization, and the memories he has from the past. But it doesn't mean he bats crazy. He's bats crazy in love with the Giants organization right now. And there's no reason to believe the Giants organization covets Bill Belichick either. After all, it was his accidental text message to Brian Flores that currently has John Mara and company in court. Absolutely. So that's another one of those things. You know, did Belichick do that on purpose? Text, right? To stir the pot to cause some problems. As you know, they said, Mr. Mara, you know, they had to go to court. I'm not sure if the court, if they still got to go back to court or what's going on with that. But you know, so I'd be hard pressed to think that after what Bill Belichick did, that text that wound up getting John Mara, you know, because the racial stuff and everything, I'd have a hard time believing that Mr. Mara would want Bill Belichick coming back anyway, especially at his age. You know, and you also saw, right? I mean, he had some phenomenal teams back then, but I mean, a lot of it was he had Tom Brady. What happened after Tom Brady left? Right? Bad teams. So, and like I said, he's 71. I mean, and that's, I mean, you're going to bring, I mean, even if you were to bring Bill Belichick, what's he going to coach till he's 97 years old? I mean, that's how he just basically would be like a stopgap. It's not something you can be bring Bill Belichick in here. We're gonna win the next 19 Super Bowls, and Bill Belichick is going to coach the Giants for 20 more years. That's not happening. I mean, he's like a heart attack away from having to retire. You know. I mean, you're 70-something years old. I mean, come on. You know, he's been coaching for a long, long time. He started in I think it was 75 with the Baltimore Colts. He was like just an assistant. I think he was making like $50 a week or something ridiculous, something crazy, just to get himself on the sideline. 1975. We're talking he's been in the NFL for darn near almost 50 years, right? How many more years has he got left? You know, we're going to bring him in for like a year, 2 year. Yeah, that would be ridiculous to me. But I have heard that, you know, a lot of people are not thrilled over the moon with sometimes some of the Giants, the way they're where their front office and everything is set up. So, but regardless whether Belichick likes the situation, Giants, there'll always be people coming in. There's only 32 of these jobs in the world, whether it's an offensive coordinator, defensive head coach. There's only 32 of them in the world. Whether the Giants have a lot of people liking their front office situation or not, regardless of that fact, the Giants will always be able to get people to come in because, as I said, there's only 32 of these jobs in the whole world. So it is what it is. Right. Well, guys, it's been 1 hour and 4 minutes. Whoever spent any time, what we got here? Wiz, good talking to you, brother. Thank you. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. If anybody spends any time watching and replay this, once again, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, it means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.